Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. This is one of a series of videos where we go over the College Board Official Question Bank question analysis. Today, we will be solving a command of textual evidence, scientific textual evidence question. Let's get started. Let's read this question. As a monthly newsletter formed in 1969 by a group of Asian American students at the University of California, Los Angeles, Ghidra helped raise awareness about social and political issues concerning the Asian American community on campus and at large. The newsletter had an expansive reach for a publication of its kind. Around 4,000 copies were published each month. A student writing a history paper, however, hypothesizes that Ghidra's influence cannot be measured by the number of newsletters published monthly alone. Which finding, if true, would most directly support the student's hypothesis? Answer A. The students who initially formed Ghidra each contributed financially to its creation. Choice B. In addition to covering current events, Ghidra also featured works of art and literature. C. Ghidra was initially based out of the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA. D. People would often give their copies of Ghidra to others once they had finished reading an issue. Now, you can always pause the video, try answering the question, and then resuming the video. Now, how can we approach this question? How can we solve this question correctly? On the right, I have 4 steps in order to correctly solve a scientific textual evidence question. Now let's go through each step one by one. Step 1 is to identify the key power words in the question, such as claim, statement, hypothesis, conclusion, or text. In the question, we can see that the key power word is the word hypothesis. Step number 2, we read the passage to interpret the key power word in question. In other words, we read the passage and look for the sentence that mentions or explicitly states the hypothesis. In the passage, we can see that the sentence that mentions the hypothesis is Ghidra's influence cannot be measured by the number of newsletters published monthly alone. Now, in order to move on to step number 3 and step number 4, we need to shorten this hypothesis sentence. Our summary phrase can be, Ghidra's influence is not equal to the number of monthly newsletters only. Notice that this is not a complete sentence. It contains symbols and it contains abbreviations. Now, step number 3 is to identify scientific evidence that would either illustrate, support, complete, justify, or weaken that key power word. And then number 4 is to choose the correct evidence in the answers. Here's our summary phrase. We already read the answers from A to D. Now let's try to shorten each answer to make it easier for ourselves to compare between the hypothesis and the correct evidence to support that hypothesis. For A, we can shorten the sentence or the answer as follows. Students contributed financially to create Ghidra. For B, Ghidra featured art, literature, and current events. C, Ghidra was based out of the AASC at UCLA. And then D, people gave their copies of Ghidra to others after reading. Now this is how I shorten it. Maybe you would shorten it differently, so that's fine. Now, if we put both sentences next to each other, we can see that answer A is irrelevant. Next, we put answer B next to the summary phrase. And if you read both sentences, you can tell that answer B is also irrelevant. Answer C mentions the AASC, the University of California. However, the summary phrase does not mention that, and so answer C is also irrelevant. Now with answer D, if we read both of them, we can see that there's a connection between the summary phrase and the answer choice D. Because people will give their copies that they read to other people, Deidre's influence cannot only be measured by the number of monthly newsletters. How many people end up reading the same copy should also be taken into account. And so because this answer is relevant and because it matches what is mentioned in the summary phrase, this is the correct answer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.